Welcome to the Blissful Living community. In today's video, we're exploring 5 timeless Buddhist stories, each offering profound wisdom that has helped millions live a happier and more fulfilled life. These stories reflect the challenges we all face, guiding us toward clarity, calm, and inner peace. So take a deep breath, relax, and allow the teachings of these tales to uplift your spirit. Let's begin this journey to be happy together. Story number 1, the power of silence. Gautam Buddha often reminded his students about the power of words. He said, "Our tongue is like the sharpest knife. It may not cause physical harm, but our words can deeply hurt someone's feelings. Words can lift people up or bring them down, depending on how we use them." This isn't just ancient wisdom, it's something we see every day. Today, let's explore not just the power of silence, but how controlling our words and thoughts can truly change our lives. Understanding the power of words. Think about a time when someone said something that hurt you, maybe a harsh comment from a boss or a friend. Those words likely stayed with you, affecting your mood and how you saw yourself. Now think about a time when someone's words made you feel good, a compliment or a word of encouragement. That positive feeling probably lasted a while. This shows why it's so important to be careful with what we say. Our words can shape our relationships, influence others, and even affect our own success. But in today's world, where we're always encouraged to speak out and share our thoughts, the value of silence is often forgotten. To understand the power of silence, let's revisit a story about a king and a Buddhist monk. This king had everything: wealth, power, fame, but still felt restless and unhappy. He went to a wise monk for help. The monk didn't suggest anything complicated. He just told the king to spend 15 days in silence, living simply and talking as little as possible. At first, the king found this very hard. His mind was filled with thoughts, questions, and the urge to talk. But as the days passed, something amazing happened. The king's mind began to calm down. He started noticing the beauty of nature around him: the birds, the flowers, the sunlight. By the end of the 15 days, he felt peaceful and happy in a way he hadn't before. The king realized that his restlessness came from talking too much and thinking negatively. These habits drained his energy and made him unhappy. The monk explained that many people have this problem. They speak too much and focus on negative thoughts, which only leads to more trouble. So, how can we use this lesson in our own lives? Here are a few simple tips. Think before you speak. Before saying something, ask yourself if your words are true, kind, and necessary. This small pause can prevent misunderstandings and conflicts. Find quiet moments. Try to spend a few minutes each day in silence. This could be during a walk, while drinking your morning coffee, or before bed. Use this time to relax and clear your mind. Watch your thoughts. Pay attention to the thoughts that fill your mind. Are they positive or negative? By noticing your thoughts, you can start to shift them towards more positive ones. Spend time alone. Don't be afraid of being alone. Solitude can help you understand yourself better and bring you peace. In these quiet moments, you might find clarity that you wouldn't get in the noise of daily life. Let's look at some examples of how silence can be powerful. In leadership, great leaders often listen more and talk less. Think of figures like Nelson Mandela or Mahatma Gandhi. Their silence often spoke louder than words, showing wisdom and calmness that inspired others. In relationships, in any relationship, listening without interrupting can strengthen your connection. It shows you respect and care about the other person's feelings. In solving problems, in conflicts, silence can be a powerful tool. Instead of reacting with anger, taking a moment of silence can help you respond more thoughtfully and calmly. Why silence can be hard. In today's world, silence can feel uncomfortable. We're used to filling every moment with noise, whether it's talking, watching videos, or scrolling through social media. But silence forces us to face our own thoughts and feelings, which can be challenging. Yet, it's in these quiet moments that we truly get to know ourselves and make positive changes. Final thoughts. Finding peace within. As we wrap up, remember that true peace starts within. By embracing silence, you can discover more about yourself, find clarity, and connect with your inner peace. The next time you feel like speaking, think about whether silence might be more powerful. Friends, as we end this journey, I encourage you to spend at least 20 minutes a day in silence. Reflect on your thoughts and see how it changes your life. Story number 2, the Raven Story. This story is for anyone who feels dissatisfied with their life, constantly thinking others are happier. Stay with me until the end to truly understand its message. Once upon a time, a raven was very unhappy with his life. One day, while sitting on a branch, he began to cry. Nearby, a monk was sitting under the same tree. A tear from the raven fell onto the monk's cheek. The monk looked up and saw the raven crying. With a gentle voice, he asked, "What's troubling you, my friend? Why are you so sad?" The raven replied, "Oh, wise one, I am deeply unhappy with my life. No one loves me. People chase me away wherever I go. No one gives me food. Everyone hates me. I feel like life is better off without me." Hearing this, the monk's heart filled with compassion. He said, "My friend, we must learn to find happiness in whatever situation we are in." But the raven couldn't understand this wisdom and continued to cry. Seeing his distress, the monk offered, "Don't be upset. Tell me, what do you wish to be? I can make it happen with my mantra." The raven, excited, said, "Oh, blessed one, if you want to help me, please make me a swan." The monk agreed, but with a condition. "I will turn you into a swan, but first, go and ask a swan if he is happy with his life. Then return to me." The raven, eager, flew off to meet a swan. He found one swimming in a pond and said, "Oh, swan, you are so beautiful, as white as milk. Everyone loves you. You must be the happiest bird in the world." But the swan, with a sad heart, replied, "No, my friend, I'm not happy. The world is full of beautiful colors, but I am plain white. I think the parrot must be the happiest bird because he is so colorful." The raven, curious, flew off to find a parrot. When he found one, he said, "Oh, parrot, you are so colorful and beautiful. You must be the happiest bird in the world." The parrot, also sad, replied, "No, my friend, I'm not happy. People often keep me in a cage. I'm always afraid someone will catch me and lock me up. I believe the peacock is the happiest bird because he's even more colorful than I am." Intrigued, the raven flew to find a peacock. After searching for a long time, he finally found one in a zoo. There were hundreds of people gathered to see the peacock. After the crowd left, the raven approached and said, "Dear peacock, you are so beautiful. Every day thousands of people come to see you. When people see me, they shoo me away. You must be the happiest bird on the planet." The peacock sighed and replied, "I always thought I was the happiest bird because of my beauty, but my beauty has trapped me in this zoo. People pluck my feathers to make decorations and it hurts me. No, my friend, I'm not happy." Surprised, the raven asked, "If you are not happy, then who do you think is the happiest bird?" The peacock said, "I've observed the zoo carefully. You, the raven, are the only bird not kept in a cage. No one tries to catch you. You are free to fly wherever you want. For the past few days, I've been thinking, if only I were a raven, I could be happy and free." Hearing this, the raven was stunned. For the first time, he felt happy to be who he was. He returned to the monk and said, "Oh, wise one, I no longer want to be anything else. I'm content with who I am." This story highlights a common problem we all face. We constantly compare ourselves to others, believing that they are happier or better off. This comparison traps us in a cycle of unhappiness. We fail to appreciate what we have and instead focus on what we lack. But happiness doesn't come from having more. It comes from being content with what we have. Take a moment to look around you. There will always be someone who has more or less than you do. If you keep comparing yourself to others, you will never find true happiness. The happiest person in the world is the one who is satisfied with what they have. In real life, this means focusing on your own journey rather than envying others. For example, instead of wishing for a bigger house like your neighbors, appreciate the comfort and security your home provides. Instead of envying a colleague's promotion, focus on your own growth and the progress you've made. Comparison often leads to resentment and bitterness, but gratitude can shift your perspective and bring peace. Remember, the grass is not always greener on the other side. Everyone has their own struggles, even those who seem to have it all. The raven's journey teaches us that the key to happiness lies not in becoming something else, but in appreciating who we are and what we have. As we conclude, remember this simple yet profound truth. A person who is satisfied with their life is the happiest person in the world. Let's stop comparing and start appreciating. Story number 3, the watermelon story. Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village, there lived a wise old monk named Master Sito. He was known far and wide, not just for his deep wisdom, but also for his sharp sense of humor. People from all over would come to seek his guidance, and he always had a way of teaching profound lessons through the simplest of stories and tasks. One day, a young and eager student named Sam arrived at the master, full of ambition and curiosity. "Master," he said with great determination, "I want to learn the secret to happiness and success. Please, teach me how I can lead a fulfilling and prosperous life." Master Sito looked at the young man, his eyes twinkling with a playful yet knowing gleam. "Very well, young one," he replied, "but before I teach you anything, you must first complete a simple task. Go to the market and buy the biggest, juiciest watermelon you can find. Then carry it on your head and walk through the entire village without dropping it." Sam was taken aback by this unusual request. He had expected a lesson in meditation or a profound philosophical discussion, not a trip to the market, but he was determined to prove himself worthy of the monk's teachings. So, he went to the market, carefully selected the largest watermelon he could find, and began his journey through the village. As Sam walked, balancing the heavy watermelon on his head, villagers quickly took notice. They began to laugh and cheer, amused by the sight of the young man so focused on his task. Some even joined in, clapping, making funny faces and calling out playful remarks. Sam felt the weight of the watermelon pressing down on him, but he was determined not to let it fall. He kept his eyes forward, his mind focused, and his steps steady. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he reached Master Sito's hut. Exhausted but proud, Sam placed the watermelon before the monk, expecting praise for his accomplishment. But instead of the serious response Sam expected, Master Sito burst out laughing. He laughed so hard that tears streamed down his face. Confused, Sam asked, "Master, why do you laugh?" "I've done what you asked. Surely there is some wisdom in this task." Master Sito, still chuckling, wiped the tears from his eyes and said, "Well done, young one. You've learned an important lesson today, even if you don't realize it yet. The secret to happiness and success is not about avoiding challenges or burdens, but about how you carry them." He continued, "Life is much like carrying that watermelon. It's full of challenges, unexpected twists, and sometimes even the weight of others' expectations or judgments. But here's the key. If you face these challenges with a light heart, a sense of humor, and the determination to keep moving forward, you will find joy and fulfillment, even in the most difficult moments. You'll also find that others' opinions, whether they cheer or mock, don't have the power to sway you from your path." Sam began to understand. He realized that the monk wasn't just teaching him how to carry a watermelon. He was teaching him how to carry life's burdens. Life is inherently unpredictable, filled with ups and downs, and no matter how carefully we plan, things won't always go the way we expect. But if we learn to laugh at ourselves, to see the humor in the absurdity of life, we can navigate even the toughest situations with grace and joy. Master Sito then added, "Remember, young one, true success isn't measured by how perfectly you carry out each task, but by how well you can maintain your inner peace and happiness, regardless of the circumstances. When you're able to laugh at the little things, the weight of your burdens will feel lighter, and you'll move through life with greater ease." From that day forward, Sam approached life with a new perspective. He tackled challenges with a smile, knowing that a sense of humor and a positive attitude were just as important as determination. When he felt overwhelmed or weighed down, he would think back to the watermelon lesson and find strength from it. He learned that it's not just about reaching your goals, but about how you carry yourself along the journey. In your own life, embrace the challenges that come your way with a light heart. Don't take yourself too seriously. Find the humor in the little things. And remember that it's okay to stumble. What matters is that you keep going, that you keep laughing, and that you remain true to your path. Life is a journey, not a race. And when you walk it with joy and laughter, you'll find that every step is a success. So next time you're feeling down, think of that watermelon story. Carry it with grace, with humor, and with the knowledge that true happiness lies not in perfection, but in the joy of the journey itself. Story number 4, the storm of your life. Once, a boy went to visit his grandfather during his summer holidays. He spent most of his time playing with his grandfather. One day, the boy said to his grandfather, "When I grow up, I want to be a successful man. Can you tell me how I can achieve that?" Grandfather nodded and replied, "Yes," then took the boy to a nearby nursery. There, he bought 2 small plants and brought them home. He planted one inside a pot and placed it indoors, while the other he planted outside in the yard. "Which one do you think will grow better?" the grandfather asked the boy. The boy thought for a moment and replied, "The plant inside the house will probably grow better, since it's safe from the dangers outside. The one outside has to deal with sunlight, storms, animals, and all sorts of risks." Grandfather smiled and said, "Let's see what happens." Afterward, the boy left with his parents. 4 years later, he returned to visit his grandfather again. Eager to hear his grandpa's advice, he said, "Grandpa, last time I asked you for advice on how to be successful, but you didn't really tell me. This time you have to." Grandfather smiled and said, "Of course. But first, let's check on the plants we planted years ago." He led the boy to the plant inside the house, which had grown into a small tree. Then, they went outside to see the other plant. To the boy's amazement, the plant outside had grown into a huge tree with wide branches, providing shade to those who passed by. "Now, tell me," his grandfather said, "which plant grew more? Which one is more successful?" The boy answered, "The one we planted outside grew much bigger." "But Grandpa, how is that possible? It faced so many dangers." His grandfather smiled again. Yes, the plant outside faced many challenges, but those challenges helped it. The storms, sunlight, and other threats forced it to grow stronger roots. It could spread its roots freely, and now it's so strong that even a small storm can't harm it. He continued, "Son, always remember this. If you always choose the easy and comfortable path, you won't grow to your full potential. But if you're willing to face the world, no matter the risks, no goal will be out of reach. Don't see problems as barriers, but as opportunities to grow stronger and more successful." The boy took a deep breath and looked at the tree, finally understanding his grandfather's words. Obstacles we see as enemies are actually what help us grow stronger and more accomplished. In the same way, life is like a big adventure, filled with twists and turns that seem like roadblocks. But these obstacles are like challenges in a game, waiting to be solved. Think about it. When you play a game, the fun part is figuring out how to beat the challenges, right? Life works just like that. Each problem you face is a chance to learn, grow, and become stronger. So don't let difficulties discourage you. Embrace them, take them head on, and watch yourself level up in life. You have the determination, strength, and spirit to overcome anything. I hope this story brings you value, and you try to apply its lesson in your life, and always keep moving forward. Story number 5, how to stop overthinking. Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, unable to sleep because your mind is stuck in a loop of endless thoughts? Do you constantly worry about the worst possible outcomes whenever you try something new? Or maybe you're always concerned about what others might think of you. If this resonates with you, you might be dealing with overthinking. But don't worry, you're not alone. Overthinking isn't helpful. You might think that by overplanning or overanalyzing, you're preparing yourself better, but in reality, it often just distracts you from actually making progress. It's important to realize that overthinking won't solve your problems. It usually just makes them seem bigger than they are. In this video, we will explore a story of a Buddhist monk that will help you find the solution. Once, in a part of China, there was a large monastery where about 500 monks lived. They were all dedicated to the path of self-realization under the guidance of their master. One day, a man came to the monastery, hoping to become a disciple. He approached the Zen master and said, "Sir, I want to understand myself. I want to discover the truth." The Zen master looked at him and responded, "If you truly want to know the truth, you must be willing to risk your entire life. It could take you a lifetime, and even then, there's no guarantee you'll find it. Are you ready for that?" The man replied, "Sir, I am not here to give up. I am prepared for this journey." The master then said, "If that's the case, I have a task for you. There are 500 monks here, and you will take care of their rice pounding. Your only duty will be to beat rice from morning until evening. When you're tired, rest. When you wake up, start again. Don't do anything else. Don't even think about anything else. Just stay on this path and don't come to me. I'll come to you when the time is right." The young man began pounding rice as instructed. There were many monks to feed, so he would rise early each morning and pound rice until nightfall. He would sleep in the same room where he worked, never speaking to anyone, nor did anyone speak to him. For the first few months, his mind was full of thoughts, but over time, without new distractions, those thoughts began to fade. Gradually, his mind quieted. After several years, he even forgot his own name. He remained silent and kept pounding rice, lost in a state beyond thought. He didn't meditate or read any scriptures. The senior disciples of the monastery thought him foolish and beneath them. 12 years passed this way. Then, one day, the Zen master announced that his time was nearing its end, and he needed to choose his successor, the one who would lead the monastery after him. He said that any disciple who had attained self-realization should write a few lines near his door that night, capturing their experience. Many disciples, including one of the chief monks, considered themselves ready. This chief disciple, well-versed in Buddhist scriptures, wrote, "The mind is like a mirror, collecting the dust of thoughts and desires. Meditation is the act of sweeping away that dust. When the mind is clear, one attains salvation." When the Zen master saw these lines the next morning, he became furious. "Who wrote this nonsense on my wall?" he demanded. The chief disciple remained silent. Despite the wisdom in the words, it was all intellectual knowledge, not born from real experience. The clever chief disciple hadn't even signed the lines, unsure of their truth, since he hadn't realized it himself. The master's harsh rejection of the words shocked everyone, and the monastery buzzed with gossip. Two disciples discussing the event passed by the young man who had been pounding rice for 12 years. He smiled quietly as he listened to their conversation. Surprised, they asked, "Why are you laughing?" They were stunned that someone they considered insignificant would react this way. To them, he was a fool who did nothing but pound rice, unlike the great scholars in the monastery. Intrigued, they asked again, "Why did you laugh?" The rice pounder replied, "I laughed because the master was right. Those lines are meaningless." Shocked, the disciples asked, "Can you write something better?" The rice pounder replied, "I can't write. I'm illiterate. But if you'll write down what I say, I'll come with you." They agreed and took him to the master's room. The rice pounder spoke and the disciple wrote, "The mind is an illusion. There is neither mind nor mirror. When the mind does not exist, where can dust settle? He who understands this has realized the truth." When the master saw these lines, he rose in the middle of the night and went to the young rice pounder, waking him from sleep. He handed him his stick and robe, saying, "From this day, you are my successor. But leave the monastery at once and go far away. The scholars here believe themselves superior to you and would harm you because they can't accept that someone as simple as a rice pounder has attained enlightenment while they have not. You've gained everything I have to give, and you did it while pounding rice. I know, wherever you go, people will be drawn to you. For when a flower blooms, its fragrance spreads naturally." The rice pounder bowed, touched the master's feet, and left quietly in the night. In our own lives, we often think meditation can only be done by sitting still with our eyes closed. But in reality, meditation can be practiced while walking, working, or engaging in any task. True meditation is when you become so absorbed in what you're doing that you lose all sense of yourself. Just like the rice pounder, who was so focused on his task that he became unaware of his own existence. One day, while pounding rice, he reached self-realization. Zen means to live fully in the present moment, free from thought. The mind only exists as long as thoughts do. When thoughts cease, so does the mind. And in that silence, your true self remains. In truth, we don't need complex spiritual practices to know who we are. We only need to lose ourselves completely in whatever we're doing, allowing that work to become our meditation. If you enjoyed this story, please support our Blissful Living community by liking, sharing, and commenting below. For more wisdom and tranquility, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for walking this path of wisdom with us.